Hello, and welcome to Easy English Listening. This is the place where we talk about important life topics while also helping you improve your English. I'm very happy that you are here today. Maybe you are walking, maybe you are driving, maybe you are studying, or maybe you are just relaxing with your headphones on. However you are listening, thank you for spending this time with me. Today, we're going to talk about something that almost everyone experiences in daily life, but we don't always think about it clearly. The topic is being busy versus being productive. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a day where you were doing many things, but at the end of the day, you felt like you didn't really achieve anything important? Maybe you spent time checking your phone, answering emails, running from one thing to another. You were active the whole day. But when night came, you realized that nothing truly meaningful was completed. It felt like you were moving all the time but not moving forward. If this sounds familiar, don't worry. You are not the only one. Many people live like this, not just for one day but for weeks, months, or even years. They're always rushing, always tired, and always feeling overwhelmed. Deep inside, they sometimes wonder, is all this activity really helping me move forward in life? That is exactly what we will explore today. We will look at the difference between being busy and being productive. And here is the big question I want you to think about. Am I busy or am I productive? There is a big difference between the two. Busy people are always doing something, but productive people are doing the right things. Busy people fill up their time. Productive people use their time to move closer to their goals. Being productive is not about doing more and more. It's about doing what really matters. In this episode, we will also look at why we sometimes prefer to stay busy instead of focusing on important tasks. Often, it is not because we love being busy. Sometimes it is because of emotions, like fear of failure, perfectionism, or self-doubt. These feelings push us to spend time on small tasks and distractions instead of real progress. By the end of this episode, I hope you will have a clearer picture of where your time is really going. You will see how you can be more intentional, more thoughtful, and more focused with your time. As you listen, I invite you to think about your own daily routine. What things fill your schedule? Which activities make you feel happy and satisfied at the end of the day? And which ones leave you feeling empty, tired, or even frustrated? Asking these questions is often the first step toward positive change. Remember, this podcast is not only about learning English. It is also about understanding yourself better. Every word you hear is helping you grow, not just in vocabulary and grammar, but also in confidence and mindset. One more thing before we begin. This episode is created especially for B2 level English learners. This level is also called upper intermediate. That means the vocabulary, grammar, and expressions are a little more advanced than beginner or lower intermediate content. Don't worry if you don't understand every word. The most important thing is to understand the meaning, enjoy the rhythm, and get used to natural English. Listening to English in this way will slowly improve both your listening and your speaking skills. And at the same time, you will be learning about a very meaningful life topic. So let's begin. The big question is, are you busy or are you productive? Now that we have asked the question, let's look more deeply at what these two words, busy and productive, actually mean in real life. On the outside, being busy and being productive can look almost the same. In both cases, you are active, you are using your time, and at the end of the day, you may even feel tired. But if we look more closely, there is a big difference. Being busy means your schedule is full. You are always doing something. Maybe you are replying to messages, going to meetings, running errands, or crossing small tasks off your to-do list. But here's the problem. Many of these tasks might not be important. They only keep you active, not effective. Being busy often tricks us. It makes us feel like we are working hard, but in reality, we are not moving forward. It's like running on a treadmill. You are sweating, your heart is beating fast, and you are spending energy. But after all that effort, you're still standing in the exact same place. You stayed busy, but you didn't actually go anywhere. Now, let's talk about being productive. When you're productive, you are not just doing things, you are doing the right things. You have a clear goal, and every action you take brings you closer to that goal. Being productive is like walking on a real road. Even if you walk slowly, each step takes you further. The speed is not important. What matters is that you are moving forward. Productivity is not about how many hours you work. It's about the results you create. A productive person might do fewer tasks than a busy person, but those tasks have more value. They focus on actions that really move their life, their work, or their goals forward. Here's an example with learning English. Imagine that your goal is to improve your English. A busy person might watch random YouTube videos, scroll through Instagram reading English quotes, or spend hours highlighting vocabulary in a book without using it. It looks like they are working hard, but they are not making real progress. A productive person would be different. They might choose one clear lesson. They would listen carefully, practice speaking, and maybe even record themselves to check their pronunciation. They would do fewer activities, but each activity would have a clear purpose. And that is the key word, purpose. One big reason people stay busy instead of productive is that they don't know their priorities. A priority means something that is more important than other things. If everything feels important, then nothing is truly important. You end up doing a little bit of everything but finishing nothing. That is busyness, not productivity. To be productive, you need to ask yourself, what really matters right now? What one thing will make the biggest difference? When you can answer that question, you're already on the right path. Another obstacle to productivity is perfectionism. Maybe you have felt this before, the feeling that everything must be perfect before you start. So, instead of acting, you keep preparing, planning, or organizing. You spend time changing small details but never actually do the main thing. Perfectionism feels like hard work, but in reality, it is often fear. We keep ourselves busy so we don't have to face mistakes or failure. But here's an important truth. Progress is always better than perfection. You can fix, improve, and learn later, but only if you begin. And of course, real life also brings setbacks. A setback is when something unexpected happens and pushes you off track. Maybe you get sick, maybe your schedule changes, maybe you lose motivation, or things don't go the way you planned. When setbacks happen, it is easy to fall back into busy habits. Busy work feels safe and simple, while focused, productive work feels harder. But here's something to remember. Being productive does not mean being perfect all the time. Productivity allows space for mistakes, slow days, and even setbacks. What matters is that you keep coming back to the path that leads you forward. Being productive means coming back again and again to the things that really matter, even after life gives you a setback. It means choosing focus over simple activity. So, let's pause for a moment. Think about your own daily life. How often do you stop and ask yourself, is this task really necessary? Is this helping me grow? Most of us don't ask those questions very often. We just keep going, doing task after task, without reflection. But if we want to be truly productive, not just busy, we need to become comfortable with reflection. We have to be honest with ourselves about how we use our time and why we choose to do certain things. Here's something important. Being productive does not always mean working more. In fact, sometimes it means working less, but with more focus. It means creating space in your day to breathe, to think, and to concentrate. That's why productive people often look calm. They don't look rushed because they know where they're going. They are also not afraid to say no to things that don't take them in the right direction. So, to put it simply, being busy means doing a lot. Being productive means doing what truly matters. Busy fills up your calendar. Productive fills your life with meaning. When you begin to see that difference in your mind, your habits also begin to change. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter, and you start building a life that is more focused, more peaceful, and more successful in your own way. So, as we move forward, ask yourself honestly, am I just moving, or am I really going somewhere? That one question can open the door to a completely new way of living. Why we love being busy. Let's be honest. Even though being busy can feel stressful, many of us still choose to stay busy. In fact, sometimes we even feel proud of being busy. But why is that? Why do so many people keep themselves busy day after day, even when deep down they know it doesn't always help them grow or move forward? One reason is culture. In many modern societies, especially in big cities, being busy is seen as a sign of success. It's almost like people wear their busy schedule like a medal or a trophy. This is often called the busy badge of honor. Imagine someone asks you, "How have you been?" And you answer, "Oh, I've been so busy." You might not realize it, but deep inside, you are telling them, "I'm important. I'm needed. My time is full, so my life must be meaningful." This idea is everywhere, on social media, in movies, in workplaces, and even in schools. People often admire or respect those who are always busy. It becomes part of our identity. We start to believe that if we are not busy, then maybe we are lazy or even worse, unimportant. But that is not true. Being busy all the time does not mean you are doing well. It only means your time is full. In fact, you can be extremely busy and still feel completely empty inside. I know this because I have felt it myself. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was working on many different projects at the same time. I had a full-time job. I was also trying to build a small side business. In the evenings, I was taking classes. And on weekends, I was helping to organize a community event. My calendar was always full. Every hour had something written on it. I didn't have time for long lunches, for breaks, or even for real conversations with my family. I told myself, I'm doing so much. I must be making progress. But the truth was, I wasn't. I was busy, yes, always moving, always crossing tasks off a list. But I wasn't actually growing. I was just surviving, not really living. One evening, after another long and tiring day, I sat down and realized something strange. I couldn't even remember what I had done that day. I had spent the whole day moving, answering calls, checking emails, and responding to requests. But when I looked back, I saw that nothing important had actually moved forward. None of my big goals were closer. I was simply reacting to everything around me instead of choosing what really mattered. That moment changed me. It made me ask the question we talked about earlier. Am I just moving, or am I really going somewhere? And that was the beginning of me learning the true difference between being busy and being productive. So, why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep filling our time with endless activity, even when it drains our energy and steals our focus? Part of the answer is emotional. Staying busy helps us avoid things we don't want to face. When you're always rushing, you don't have time to sit still and ask yourself hard questions like, am I truly happy? Am I doing what I really want to do? What am I afraid of? These questions can feel uncomfortable, even painful. So instead, we avoid them. We keep ourselves busy as a kind of protection. We stay active so we don't have to feel emotions like fear, sadness, or doubt. But here's the truth. Real growth only happens when we are honest with ourselves. Another reason is something many people know as FOMO, or the fear of missing out. In today's world, we see everyone online doing so many exciting things. Traveling, starting new businesses, learning new skills, sharing their success stories. And when we see this, we feel pressure. We think, I need to do more, I need to try more, I need to be more. So we say yes to everything. We take on more than we can handle. We fill our days with endless tasks because we're afraid of falling behind. But the truth is, nobody can do everything. And real success doesn't come from saying yes to everything. It comes from saying yes to the right things. Another reason we love being busy is that it gives us structure. When we feel lost or uncertain about a big decision, we often turn to smaller, easier tasks just to feel useful. We think, at least I'm doing something. For example, instead of working on an important project, we might spend hours organizing our desk or answering emails. These activities make us feel active, but they don't take us closer to our real goals. This is an illusion. It's not progress. It's just motion. And if we are not careful, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and we find ourselves still stuck in the same place. Let me ask you something. Have you ever avoided a big, scary goal by doing small, safe tasks that didn't really matter? Maybe you cleaned your room instead of studying. Or maybe you checked your email instead of practicing English. If you have, don't worry, you're not alone. We all do this sometimes. It's simply part of being human. But once we become aware of this pattern, we can start to change it. In the end, we often stay busy because it feels safe. It feels familiar. And it is socially accepted. People respect busyness. But here's the danger. Busyness can become a habit. A habit that hides our fear, our confusion, and our lack of clarity. The good news is that habits can be changed. And the very first step is awareness. So today, I want to invite you to think about your own life. Do you wear the busy badge with pride? Do you sometimes keep yourself busy just to avoid fear or discomfort? Do you fill your days with activity that keeps you moving but not really moving forward? These are deep questions, but asking them can truly change your life. And as you reflect on your answers, remember, you are not only practicing your English, you are also improving your mindset. Now, let's keep going and explore the next big idea, the hidden costs of being busy. At first, being busy can seem like a good thing. It can even feel exciting. You always have something to do, people to talk to, and tasks to complete. It gives you energy for a while. But here's the danger. If you stay busy without clear direction or purpose, over time it leads to something much deeper and much more harmful. These are what I call the hidden costs of being busy. Let's look at some of the biggest ones. 1. Burnout. You may have heard this word before. Burnout. Burnout happens when your body and mind feel completely tired, not just physically, but also emotionally and mentally. This is not the kind of tiredness that disappears after one good night of sleep. This is the kind of exhaustion that builds up slowly, over weeks or even months. With burnout, you begin to feel like you have no energy left. Things that once brought you joy no longer feel interesting. Even small tasks feel heavy, difficult, and stressful. Many people who experience burnout say things like, "I don't feel like myself anymore." So what causes burnout? Often it's not because you're working hard on something meaningful. It's because you're doing too much of the wrong things without enough rest, without enough clarity, and without balance. You spend your days rushing, reacting, and checking tasks off a list. But none of those tasks give you real satisfaction or bring you closer to your goals. You're always on, but you're never really present. You're busy, but not fulfilled. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you tired because you worked hard on something important? Or are you tired because you spent the whole day wasting energy on distractions? That's a powerful question. And sometimes the answer can be uncomfortable. But facing it honestly is the first step to change. 2. Stress. Another hidden cost of being busy is stress. This happens when you feel constant pressure to do more, be more, and handle everything at the same time. When you are always running from one thing to the next, your brain never gets a real break. It's like having too many internet tabs open on your computer. Your brain is trying to hold everything, but it becomes overloaded. You forget things, you lose focus, and you always feel like there's not enough time. Instead of feeling calm and clear, you feel tense, worried, and sometimes even panicked. This is the feeling of being overwhelmed, when your mind is carrying more than it can handle. Think of your brain like a backpack. If you keep putting more and more things into it, tasks, responsibilities, worries, without removing anything, eventually it becomes too heavy to carry. You might still be walking, still smiling, still showing up, but inside you're struggling. 3. Self-doubt. There's also a quieter, but equally painful, cost of being busy: self-doubt. When you are constantly busy but not seeing real results, you start to question yourself. You might think, why am I working so hard, but nothing is changing? Maybe I'm not good enough. This is when the voice of doubt becomes louder. You feel like you're failing, even though you're putting in so much effort. And that is one of the most painful parts of busyness without direction. It doesn't just waste your time, it slowly damages your confidence. But here's something important I want you to remember. You are not the problem. The problem is the system you're stuck in, the habits, the cultural pressures, the mindset that tells you to keep going without stopping to think. When you feel exhausted, it doesn't always mean you are weak. Often, it means you have been strong for too long, without giving yourself permission to rest. And there is one more danger of living too busy. We start to live on 4. Autopilot. Another hidden cost of being too busy is living life on autopilot. What does that mean? Autopilot is when you move through your day without really thinking or paying attention. You wake up, check your phone, rush through breakfast, go to work or school, reply to messages, sit in meetings, check notifications, scroll through social media, answer more emails, cook dinner, and suddenly, the day is over. You were alive, yes. You were present, yes. But you weren't really awake. You weren't living with awareness. That is autopilot. And here's the danger. If we stay on autopilot for too long, we stop asking important questions. Questions like, why am I doing this? Is this helping me grow? Is this what I really want for my life? Let me share a personal example. A few weeks ago, I had a very long day. I felt exhausted when I finally came home. But when I looked back, I realized something strange. I hadn't done anything truly meaningful. Yes, I had answered emails, replied to messages, organized some files, and checked off small tasks. But I hadn't created anything new, I hadn't learned anything, and I hadn't deeply connected with another person. That night, I sat at the edge of my bed and asked myself, am I really tired, or am I just empty? It was not an easy question, but it helped me notice the truth. I wasn't tired because I did too much. I was tired because I spent my energy on the wrong things. Maybe you've felt that too. Maybe you've come home at night completely drained, but with nothing to show for it. That is one of the biggest costs of busyness without direction. You lose your energy, your focus, and sometimes even your passion. But here's the good news. Awareness brings power. The moment you start noticing how you spend your time and energy, you gain the ability to make better choices. So ask yourself, am I living with intention? Or am I just reacting to everything around me? Do I feel overwhelmed because I'm doing too much, or because I'm not doing the things that really matter? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary if you want to move from a life of busyness to a life of clarity, growth, and true productivity. And remember, it is okay to slow down. It is okay to pause. You do not need to earn your worth by being busy every moment of the day. Your value does not come from how many tasks you complete. Your value comes from who you are and how you choose to live. What real productivity looks like. So far, we've talked about what it means to be busy and why busyness doesn't always help you move forward. But now, let's imagine the opposite. What does it actually look like to be productive? What are the habits, the actions, and even the feelings of someone who is truly productive, not just busy. One of the first and most important things we notice about productive people is focus. When someone is productive, they don't try to do everything at once. Instead, they choose one important thing, and they give it their full attention. This is not easy. We live in a world full of distractions, messages, notifications, phone calls, endless information everywhere. But productive people learn to protect their focus like it's something precious, because it truly is. You can think of focus like sunlight. When sunlight spreads in all directions, it feels warm, but it doesn't do much. What real productivity looks like continued. If you focus sunlight through a magnifying glass, something amazing happens. That soft, scattered light becomes powerful. It can even start a fire. That's what focus does in your life. It takes your energy, your time, your thoughts, and it brings them together. That's how real results are made. But focus alone isn't enough. Another key trait of truly productive people is consistency. Consistency means doing something again and again, not just when you feel like it, but also when you don't. It's not about big, dramatic actions. It's about steady, repeated actions. Think about exercise. A person who goes to the gym once a month for 3 hours probably won't see much progress. But someone who goes for just 30 minutes 3 times a week will see real results over time. The same is true in every area of life. Whether you're learning a language, starting a business, improving your health, or developing a skill, consistency always beats perfection. And that brings us to another important factor: mindset. Your mindset is the way you think about challenges, mistakes, effort, and success. People with a productive mindset don't sit around waiting for motivation to appear. They create structure. They show up even when things aren't perfect. They don't give up easily. They understand that setbacks are not the end of the journey. They're part of the journey. Most importantly, they focus on progress, not perfection. That mindset helps them grow even when things feel difficult. Let me share a story with you. I once worked with a woman named Laura. When I first met her, she was always busy. Her calendar was completely full. Her desk was covered with papers and sticky notes. She looked tired almost every day. She often said, "There's just not enough time in the day." But when you looked at what she actually completed each week, it wasn't much. Meetings, emails, phone calls, yes, but no deep work. No long-term projects finished. One day, Laura decided to change something. She read a book on productivity, and she started making small adjustments. The first change was simple. She began her mornings with intentional planning. Every day, she asked herself, "What are the 3 most important things I need to do today?" And she wrote them down. She also stopped checking email first thing in the morning. She turned off her notifications for a few hours each day. And she gave herself real breaks, not scrolling on her phone, but actual rest. At first, it felt strange. Slowing down felt wrong because she was so used to rushing. But after a few weeks, something amazing happened. She started finishing projects. She had more energy. She smiled more often. One day she said to me, "I finally feel like I'm moving forward." That is what real productivity feels like. Not stress, not chaos, not exhaustion, but calm, clear, focused effort, repeated again and again. When you're truly productive, you're not just checking boxes. You're building something, step by step, day by day. And you can actually see and feel the difference. Of course, this doesn't mean productive people never make mistakes. They do. It doesn't mean they never feel tired or unmotivated. They do. But here's the difference. They have tools, habits, systems, and self-awareness that help them keep going. They don't depend only on motivation. They build discipline. They create routines that support their goals. And instead of running away from failure, they learn from it. Common productivity myths. Now that we've talked about what real productivity looks like, let's slow down for a moment and explore something many people don't usually talk about: the myths. Yes, the myths of productivity. These are ideas that sound true, but in reality, they hold us back. They make us work hard without moving forward. Let's look at a few of the most common ones. Myth number 1. Multitasking makes you more productive. You've probably heard people say things like, "I'm great at multitasking. I can do 5 things at once." But here's the truth. Our brains are not built for that. What we call multitasking is usually just switching very quickly from one thing to another. And every time we switch, we lose focus. We waste energy. We make more mistakes. It's like trying to write an email while watching TV and talking on the phone. You're busy, yes. But are you doing any of it well? There's a good idiom for this: spinning your wheels. Imagine a car stuck in the mud. The wheels are turning fast, but the car isn't moving forward. That's what multitasking really is: lots of motion, but no progress. Myth number 2. Being busy means you're important or successful. In today's culture, being busy almost feels like a status symbol. People say, "I'm so busy," as if it's something to be proud of. It becomes a kind of busy badge of honor. But think about it. If you're always busy, but you're not happy, not healthy, and not achieving your real goals, is that truly success? Being busy is easy. Being thoughtful and focused is much harder. Myth number 3. If you're not tired at the end of the day, you didn't work hard enough. This belief is very common, especially in competitive work environments. Some people think that unless you're exhausted, you haven't done enough. But here's the reality. Being tired all the time is not a sign of productivity. It's usually a sign of burnout. There's an idiom for this too: burning the candle at both ends. It means you're using up your energy in the morning and again at night, without giving yourself a chance to rest. And eventually, just like a candle, your energy burns out completely. Myth number 4. You need to wait for the perfect time to start. This one traps so many of us. We think, "I'll start when I have more time, when I feel ready, when things calm down, when I'm more confident." But here's the secret. The perfect time never comes. Life is always messy. There are always distractions, challenges, and reasons to wait. Productive people don't wait for perfect. They start small right where they are. And with each small step, they build momentum. So the next time you catch yourself multitasking, or bragging about being busy, or waiting for the right moment, remember, these are myths. They sound good, but they don't help you grow. Real productivity isn't about doing more, or looking busy, or waiting for perfect conditions. It's about clarity, focus, and consistent action, one step at a time, turning busy into productive. Now that we've broken the myths and looked at what real productivity means, the next question is simple but powerful. How do we actually move from being just busy to being truly productive? Because it's one thing to understand the difference, but it's another thing to live that difference in your daily routine. The truth is, most of us don't need to work harder. We need to work smarter. That means making small, intentional shifts that focus our time and energy where it really matters. Let's walk through a few practical steps. Step 1. Set priorities. It's easy to make a long to-do list with 20 or 30 small tasks. And yes, it feels good to check them off. But are those tasks moving you closer to your real goals? Or are they just keeping you busy? Real productivity begins with asking, what truly matters today? Not what's urgent, not what's loud, but what's important. Backhand index pointing right, here's a quick exercise. Imagine you only had 2 hours today to do your most meaningful work. What would you choose? That's your priority. When you learn to prioritize, you stop reacting to life and start directing your energy with purpose. Step 2. Learn to say no. This one is hard. Many of us want to be helpful, liked, or seen as reliable. So we say yes to meetings, favors, events, emails, and requests, even when we're already tired or overwhelmed. But here's the truth. Every yes is also a no to something else. If you say yes to staying late at work every night, you're saying no to time with your family. If you say yes to every notification, you're saying no to your own focus. Productive people learn that saying no isn't selfish. It's wise. It's how you protect your time and energy for the things that matter most. Step 3. Protect your focus. We live in a world full of distractions, phones buzzing, emails popping, messages arriving all day long. If we're not careful, our entire day disappears into small interruptions. A simple but powerful solution is focus time. Choose one block of time each day, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, where you turn off notifications, close extra tabs, and give your full attention to one task. Think of it like a meeting with yourself. You wouldn't cancel a meeting with your boss or teacher, right? Don't cancel on yourself either. Step 4. Build consistency, not perfection. You don't need to work for 10 hours straight. What you need is steady progress. Learning a language for 20 minutes a day is more effective than studying for 5 hours once a month. Exercising for 15 minutes a day is more powerful than running for 2 hours once and then stopping. Consistency creates habits, and habits create results. Step 5. Reflect and adjust. At the end of the day, take 5 minutes to look back. Ask yourself, what did I do today that really mattered? What did I do today that just kept me busy? How can I shift tomorrow to do more of the first and less of the second? This short reflection helps you notice patterns. And awareness is the first step to change. So, to turn busy into productive, set clear priorities. Learn to say no. Protect your focus. Be consistent. Reflect and adjust. These small steps, done daily, can completely transform the way you live and work. Because, at the end of the day, productivity isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things. Final reflection and wrap up. So, let's take a deep breath together and look back on everything we've talked about today. We started by exploring the difference between being busy and being productive. We saw how real productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. It's about progress, not perfection. Then we uncovered the myths. Multitasking makes you more productive, it doesn't. Being busy means you're successful, it doesn't. Exhaustion equals hard work, it doesn't. It often means burnout. Waiting for the perfect time, it never comes. Thinking productive people never get distracted. They do, they just manage it. Next, we turn to the habits of true productivity. Setting clear priorities. Learning to say no. Protecting your focus through deep work. Choosing consistency over perfection. Reflecting daily or weekly to stay aware and intentional. And finally, we faced the deeper challenges, perfectionism and fear of failure, the quiet forces that often keep us busy but not productive. Now, let's bring it back to you. Ask yourself, what really matters to me right now? Where am I spinning my wheels instead of moving forward? What's one small shift I can make this week to protect my focus and say yes to what's important? Remember, you don't need to change everything overnight. Start small. Pick one idea from today and test it out in your life. Over time, those small choices will build into big change. Because productivity isn't just about checking boxes. It's about creating a life that feels meaningful, balanced, and aligned with who you are. So my challenge for you is this. Choose one thing that matters, give it your energy, and let progress, not perfection, be your guide. Thank you for spending this time with me. Keep coding your English, keep coding your life, and keep moving forward, one focused step at a time. This has been a full and meaningful conversation. Because the difference between being busy and being productive is not a small detail. It's actually about how we live, how we think, and how we grow. We started with one simple but powerful question. Are you really busy, or are you truly productive? We learned that being busy can feel like progress, but often it's just movement without direction. Busy means doing many things, often all at once, but without clear purpose. Productive means choosing the right things, the things that move you forward in life. Think of it like this. Being busy is like running on a treadmill. You're moving, you're sweating, you're tired, but you stay in the same place. Being productive is like walking toward a real destination. You may go slower, but every step takes you closer to where you want to be. We also talked about why people stay so busy. Sometimes, being busy feels safe. It helps us avoid hard decisions. It makes us feel important, even if we're not making progress. But there is a cost. Busyness brings stress, burnout, and the feeling of being stuck on autopilot. We asked some hard questions together. Are you tired because you worked hard, or because you gave your energy to things that don't really matter? Are you moving forward, or are you just spinning in circles? Then we looked at what real productivity means. Truly productive people focus on fewer tasks, but they do them with clarity and intention. They set priorities. They protect their deep work time. They learn to say no when something doesn't serve their goals. We also faced another truth. Perfectionism and fear of failure often keep us stuck in busyness. Sometimes we stay busy, so we don't have to face the possibility of failing. But real growth comes from progress, not perfection. From trying, learning, and moving forward, even if it's not perfect. So before we close today, I want to invite you to pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what will you do differently this week? Not next year, not when life feels easier, but this week. Could you turn off your phone notifications for 1 hour? Could you write down your top 3 priorities for tomorrow? Could you say no to one small task that doesn't really matter? And if you're not sure where to start, try this. Take 10 minutes tonight or tomorrow morning and reflect. Ask yourself, where does my time really go? What activities give me energy? What activities leave me feeling stuck or distracted? This kind of reflection isn't only about productivity. It's about self-awareness. It helps you learn about yourself. And that's what real growth is. Knowing yourself better and making choices that match your goals and your values. Remember, you don't need to change everything at once. Progress comes from small, consistent steps. Each time you choose productivity over busyness, you build more control over your time, your energy, and your life. Thank you for spending this time with me here on Easy English Listening. I hope today's episode not only gave you listening practice, but also a new way to think about your habits, your goals, and your focus. You have the ability to shape your days. And when you shape your days, you shape your future. So let me leave you with this. What is your next step? Take it with clarity. Take it with courage. And always keep learning. Until next time, take care. And remember, it's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters.